Have you ever experienced a moment that just instantly, almost magically, pulls you completely backward through time? In this explainer, we're diving into something deeply universal. It's a sensory experience that every single one of us knows, yet very few of us truly understand. We're going to decode the hidden psychology behind memory and uncover exactly why nostalgia feels so incredibly powerful.
Think about it. You're just, going about your day, and suddenly, an old song comes on. In a fraction of a second, you aren't just remembering a childhood summer or a specific afternoon laughing with an old friend. No, you are entirely transported there. You can almost feel the air on your skin. You feel the exact emotions of that very moment all over again.
Or maybe you've stumbled across an old photograph of a forgotten school classroom or a random family gathering, and you felt this sudden, overwhelming rush of returning memories. It's an emotion that's almost impossible to put into words. It just washes over you, bringing moments you completely forgot even existed right back up to the surface.
But then, something rather strange happens. If you really sit with that feeling for a minute, you might notice a fascinating mystery. Those old memories don't just return to you as neutral, boring facts. They mysteriously feel warmer. They glow brighter. Somehow, in your mind, the past actually feels better than reality itself. Why is that? Why do old memories carry so much heavy emotional weight?
Why does nostalgia have the sheer power to instantly and completely change our emotions in the present moment? Well, the answer lies hidden deep inside the complex wiring of the human mind.
Section 1. The Nostalgia Mystery.
Let's kick this off by unraveling a massive myth. Nostalgia isn't just remembering data, it's a profound emotional experience. Your brain is not a film projector perfectly replaying a flawless recording of reality. Your brain isn't replaying the past, instead it's an active editor. Every single time you remember something, your brain is actively rebuilding it. Your memories are essentially stories, constantly being rewritten by your own mind.
Section 2. Rebuilding the Past and Memory Bias. So if our brains are constantly editing our past experiences, how exactly are they doing it? Well, we call it the fading affect. Let's say you go through a highly stressful school year. In the present day, it's really difficult. But as we move down the timeline to a year later, the pain begins to fade. Fast forward several years, and suddenly that same stressful year transforms into a glowing, magical memory. An embarrassing moment suddenly becomes a hilarious story. The dark details just vanish, and the positive emotions stay incredibly strong.
Psychologists actually call this memory bias. It's the psychological process where your brain actively scrubs away negative details and pain way faster than it removes pleasure and positive emotions. Your brain is quietly editing reality behind the scenes, specifically to create a version of your past that is simply easier for you to love. And that is exactly why the past always seems better than it actually was.
Section 3. Triggers in the Memory Web.
Knowing our brains have curated this highly edited greatest hits version of the past, how do we actually access it? Nostalgia is usually unlocked by highly specific sensory triggers. Bakery smells, childhood photos, the sharp ring of a school bell, or just walking down an old familiar street. But notice that very first point. Old songs. Music might literally be the absolute strongest nostalgia trigger on Earth. Just a few notes of a familiar song act as a catalyst, instantly unlocking doors to completely forgotten moments. The reason a simple smell or a sound can do this is all thanks to the associative memory web. See, your brain doesn't store memories in isolated little boxes. It stores experiences as a giant interconnected web of nodes. When you touch one single node, say you smell a really specific bakery scent, it doesn't just bring back one memory. It triggers an automatic chain reaction. It activates dozens of other connected memories, just lighting up your brain with the past.
Section 4. A bittersweet emotion.
Now, nostalgia is far more complex than just simple happiness. It's a deeply layered feeling, creating what we call the nostalgia paradox. We essentially have two clashing feelings colliding head-on. On one side, you have joy. You feel incredibly grateful that this beautiful moment happened. But right next to it, on the exact opposite side, is loss. You feel a distinct, heavy sadness, precisely because that moment is gone forever, fading away like a sunset. It's literally happiness and sadness occurring at the exact same time. This emotionally complex blend creates a really unique, powerful wave of feeling. And what's truly beautiful here is that this specific mixture of joy and loss is universally understood by humans all around the world, across literally every culture. Section 5. Why we need nostalgia.
Because it carries that tiny tinge of sadness, some people mistake longing for the past as a weakness, but the science reveals it is actually incredibly good for us. Research shows it actively reduces feelings of loneliness. It increases our sense of meaning and purpose in life. It acts as an emotional recovery tool to quickly improve our mood. But most importantly, and this is where it gets really deep, it reminds you of exactly who you are. It completely anchors your personal identity.
When life feels story and the future looks totally uncertain, nostalgia steps in to reconnect you with your own story. By remembering how you successfully navigated and survived really difficult times in the past, your brain is actually generating comfort and a profound sense of hope for the future. It lights up your timeline just to show you your own resilience.
Which leads us to a deeply reflective question. When you get completely lost in an old memory, is nostalgia really about the past at all?
The paradigm-shifting reality here is no. It isn't just about the past. Nostalgia is fundamentally about identity. It's about understanding who you were so you can truly understand who you are right now. When you hear that old song or look at that faded photograph, it is actually reminding you of parts of yourself that you completely forgot existed.
The past you lived through was not perfect. The past wasn't perfect. It was full of flaws, struggles, and imperfect realities. But your brain doesn't care about remembering perfection. It brilliantly filters out the noise to leave you with a glowing, lasting emotional truth.
And I think that is exactly why this psychological phenomenon holds so much sway over the human heart. Sometimes, the memories we miss most are actually memories of who we used to be. Just let that impact resonate for a moment. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind. Until next time, keep exploring.